Hey everybody, it is Dungeon Master Mark. Figured I would go ahead and do our next daily quarantine gaming session for myself and our family. So today is actually, I believe it's quarantine day 9, session 9. So, well, it's been over a week, so like I said, everything's just kind of blending together. So luckily, I still get to work from home and stuff like that, so at least I have a little bit of sanity time and things like that. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into today's session. So the other day we had the harbor quest. The party decided, since it was such a small amount of money, they did not want to continue working for the rich merchant, and they decided instead they were going to let it be known out there that they're able to be hired for all kinds of weird, wacky quests, whether it's protection, things of that nature. So there was a young nobleman who also happens to be a sorcerer that comes up to the party. And of course he has several of these very large bodyguards with him. And he lets them know that their father, or the sorcerer's father, was a rather well-known archimage or sorcerer here in the city. And he created a menagerie of some of his creatures that he collected over the years. And he's not sure if these creatures are still even alive, but he knows there's one particular artifact, this large magical stone, that he wants the party to be able to go down and basically tag it. They're going to put like a little magical sigil on it. That way he can teleport this thing back, because he's never been down there. So he does let the party know that there's several different, it's almost kind of like an underground magical zoo, basically. His father was a bit eccentric, as those high-level casters are. So what happens is he offers to kind of it's like a greater dimension door, which is where the party is going to come in right here. And he does let them know this door is only going to be open for 24 hours. So literally, if they want to pack any healing items, things like that, they're going to meet him at his tower. He's going to send them to this keyed portal, which is going to drop them into this room. And then they have 24 hours to make their way through this. And after that, they're stuck. So he does give them this magical hourglass. That way they're able to keep track of time. So in theory, they could technically rest once if they needed to, but of course that means they would have to really push quickly through the rest of the dungeon. So the very first thing they notice is there's this ethereal, this spectral being. It's kind of like a servant, kind of like an unseen servant, except for in this case, it's slightly visible. And then there's some metal grates, and then some stairs going down, and then there's this homunculus, like a little construct flying around. It keeps, jammering and mumbling different little weird things. Sometimes it's little rhymes and, oh, the master's going to kill you all this kind of creepy stuff. So the party has a couple different ways they're able to circumvent this area. And I'll give you kind of an idea of some of the encounters. So this is a seaweed siren from the Pathfinder monstrous manuals. So it's kind of like a beholder in a way, except for instead of eye stalks, it has these 3 humanoid heads. They're aquatic. They're really good at charming people. So it's going to stay submerged until they come in. They do notice there's these weird tendrils, or maybe even some type of seaweed that just kind of looks like tentacles sticking out of the water. But as soon as they get close, one of the heads is going to stick up. It's going to act like it's a person in the water. This room, right after this encounter, which this is going to be a fairly potent encounter, this is actually the large magical rock, which this door is magically sealed. But they do find a wand of knock later on. And of course you have some creeper vines, some choker vines, and then of course the large magical rock that the gentleman's actually looking to get out of here. So once they get close to this, they see these glowing vines running up the side of it. It's very obvious that this is some type of very potent, fey magical nexus point. Now there are a couple places, like the one sewer grate, that will allow them, and then also this chamber that will dump them down into this kind of holding area. It's about a 50-foot drop, and there's of course a snail flail that I resin printed the other day. Actually, I put a wrong wall piece there, so I gotta fix that. But yep, a good old snail flail. For those who've never encountered the snail flails, they're a Very, very fun. Not the most powerful creatures to fight, but very fun to play. And of course, over here, there's going to be this large metallic sealed door. Once they do open it up, they notice there's these lizard-like Yuan-Ti people on the far end. And of course, these people are now kind of the second generation of creatures that have lived in this chamber. They don't realize that they're sealed in, but they've been praying to this idol of their lizard / Yuan-Ti god to save them, and that they're going to set them free so they can wreak their vengeance upon the world, blah, blah, blah. See if I can focus a little better there. Now over here, the steps going down, there's going to be two different areas. Once they get down the steps, they can take a left or a right. If they go to the left, they're going to come to this chamber where it looks like a cavern's been kind of carved into the wall. And there's going to be these two clockwork guardians. And of course, once they do make their way in, there is a chamber with 3 of these very large bats hanging from the ceiling. There's some large glowing mushrooms on the floor. Over here in the one pile of mushrooms, they do find a humanoid body that looks like at maybe one point it was a thief that got in. And of course, that is the gentleman who has the wand of knock. Now, if they do take the other route, let me scoot around this way. There we go. There's some steps coming down, and then there's this icy chamber with a very large, very, very pissed off winter wolf. So, I love the ice Dwarven Forge Dwarvenite pieces. So I've actually got a couple of little blue LEDs I'm going to try sticking under there later if I can make them faint, glow really, really faint, just to give it just a little more sparkle, a little more color. Pardon me. And then the last encounter we're going to have at the end of this portcullis, which is locked. They are going to see over here on the far side, I'm going to put like a small little treasure chest and a little pile of gold. And of course we have a chimera. Now this chimera is fairly intelligent. Instead of like a white dragon head or a red, it has a green dragon head. So even if the party does try to sneak in, sneak out, there is a pretty good chance he can still breathe his gas attack down the hallway. It is intelligent enough that it will try to barter with them, trying to gain its freedom. So once the party explains what they're doing here, it will definitely offer for them to let the party put the sigil on it. Just put it in its mane so that it gets teleported out, and it's willing to give them their treasure once it's outside. So I apologize, folks. My autofocus today is not working very good. See, this is actually my older camera, and it's a little fidgety. I think I actually need to update the firmware on it. But yeah, that is it for today's terrain setup. My wife and daughter did say they wanted to try something a little more kind of classic D&D-ish. And I also have an idea coming up for a kind of a Conan theme one, which is thus the purpose of this. If they do decide not to kill them, they may have the opportunity for kind of a side quest to bring them back to their tribe or their people, which will give them some extra experience points, and then maybe allow the sorcerer in the party to unlock the sorcerer bloodline. So kind of something a little interesting. But one of the things I wanted to do on this particular series is I wanted to give them kind of a wide or a little bit more variety of encounters, something a little more unique than our, fight the cultists, fight the pirates, stuff like that. And like I said, it gives us just a good reason to get out some different terrain pieces and dust some stuff off and make something a little more visually appealing. Now I did also have one optional encounter planned, but I think I'm going to skip it for this. Once they do unlock the Fey Nexus point, once it's kind of liberated or teleported out, I was going to have this spectral being be where it's going to start kind of rampaging the city because it's been unlocked. It's no longer kind of locked into this menagerie, so it could be possible that it may later come into a different storyline And of course they're going to recognize it because it's the same butler guard that the creature was wearing before. So we'll see if they go with the Chimera's plan, or if they're going to take just the gold and just let the son of the sorcerer have his prize. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will talk to you all later, and hopefully you are all doing well. You're all staying safe. You're all staying healthy and enjoying some of this quarantine free time that we have to spend time with your family. All right, I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.